Yes, we can go. Okay, so how are you? I think the whole point of this was to. I'm so blown away by how well people are adapting, because we all hit a panic. We all thought the sky was falling, which it was. We were all thrown in the deep end. We all had bad behavior and didn't want to be told what to do. And we've all adapted. And this is fascinating. And from what we've discussed in a past conversation, I'm just blown away by how you've taken the situation and given it everything and made a bad situation into something that works so well for you. So it's over to you. I want to hear everything.
For a very long time, I had this dream of going into the digital world and finding a voice and joining this world of videos and virtual communication. It was a world that I'd been standing on the edge of for a number of years, and I just couldn't break through. I just couldn't get there. And then lockdown happened, and the first week of lockdown was a week of immense panic and anxiety, and also terrible sadness, because all I could think of was all those people who were going to get ill or who were already ill, who were having the most awful times in their families and everything. And that kind of dominated my thinking for about a week. And I really, really felt grief with all of those people who were enduring this terrible illness and bereavement and all the rest of it. And that kind of really knocked me. And then eventually, say after about 8 days or so, I began to realize that in actual fact, that was there somewhere else. It was happening, but it wasn't actually happening to me, and it wasn't really my life. And so I didn't need to go into that place. It wasn't my space. And I looked around and I had to look to see what my space was. And it was like all my dreams were coming true, because all the doors were opening for me that had been closed for a number of years, for maybe 8, 9 years. Just like that, everything opened up. So the very opposite of lockdown was I was experiencing the very opposite. Inside my home, unable to step outside the front door, boxed in, which made me very frightened to begin with. I thought, well, how am I going to sit in this house, in my flat for 3 weeks, 21 days? Now I'm actually quite happy for the extension time and looking forward to further extensions. And other friends have said they've also loved the peace and quiet, the slower pace, the no traffic, the living a completely different way of life, exploring different aspects of themselves that were always there, but they never had time to connect with. I'm reconnecting with who I really am. I'm rediscovering all my old interests that previously were shelved because I was so busy running around doing outside activities, which I see now are quite not irrelevant, but unnecessary, very unnecessary. And so in a nutshell, if I have to describe the last 28, 29 days, it's a month now, it's like a sabbatical, going on. I said to myself, take it as a sabbatical. You've worked all these years, you've pursued a particular path and a particular direction. It is always very, very good to go on sabbatical, or this is how I understand sabbatical. You just take, some people take a year out of their lives, or they take 6 months, or however long it is. In this case, we don't know how much time we're going to be given. And just take time out of your life and reset your course and your direction. And so that's, I'm looking upon it. And that's how I can sum it up for you to begin with.
You know, I think a lot of us, for years, we're going, we can't carry on like this. This is not a sustainable way of living. We've got to stop. We've got to rethink. We've got to do something different, and never did, because we're so stuck in the habits and the rat race and the fear of, if you change, what's going to happen, and the uncertainty. And although this is a tragic situation and it is frightening, and there are a lot of people's livelihoods on the line, it's also forced a lot of people to rethink the way they were doing life, because let's face it, it was unsustainable. We all knew this. And it's almost in my feeling that there was a group consciousness of enough people going, we can't do this anymore, that the universe came back and went, okay, fine. Here, you're going to have a forced reassessment of the way you do life, because we've been asking for this, frankly, whether it's the way we've been treating each other, whether it's the way we've been treating the planet, whether it's the way we have been treating ourselves. What's been so apparent for me is initially it was all about what am I going to do, what's going to happen to me, and within a few days became, what about everybody else? How can I help everybody else? Because I'm okay, but a lot of people aren't. And this amazing amount of generosity and charity and people being selfless, and because we've got nothing else to do, is finding resources that we can help resource other people with, which I found is profound and reassuring that humanity has still got a heart somewhere. What do you think?
Well, in the area where I live, which is Milnerton here in Cape Town, I couldn't believe it. On Saturday morning, the community, after about a week of WhatsApp messages, very informal, very casual, not huge numbers of organizing going on Saturday morning collected and distributed 14,000 sandwiches to a neighboring area, which is an underprivileged area. They are neighbors just across the road. And with seemingly very little effort and a lot of fun, 14,000 sandwiches collected by a group of neighbors. There were a couple of business owners who supported it with space to collect meat and collect and all the boxes and pack everything, take it off and give it out. And I thought that never ever happened. No, everybody knew about this neighborhood and felt for them, but never actually reached out. We're now reaching out to each other. I also think it has shifted, speaking for South Africa, because I can't speak for the rest of the world, but I feel a profound shift in group consciousness of the South African community, or the way I'm seeing and being part of that. It's softening the hard edges and opening up lines of communication, which potentially must have always been there, but somehow we just couldn't get into that track. So I don't see it as a bad thing at all. I see the illness as going to, I mean, the numbers are thrown around, very big numbers. 80,000 people are expected to be tested as positive, and of that a certain percentage are going to not perhaps survive the illness. And it's a big thing, and it could be bigger. I don't want to start sounding like somebody else. We all know it could be bigger, it could be smaller, but we just don't know how things are going to go. And it's our nature to want to try and predict or plan and try and pin things down, and we just can't. Just can't pin anything down right now. And I'm sitting now looking out of my window at the sunset, and I can see outside, but it's so close, but I just can't go there. I think it's going to give us a renewed appreciation for things which we took so for granted before. Today, I wish somebody happy birthday on Facebook, and my birthday wish for this old school friend of mine was freedom. I wish you freedom in the coming year. He never said things like that to each other before. I wish you freedom. It was
never
just
thought of those things because
we took
a false
for granted.
sense of freedom. And I think, it does put gratitude in a new light. I'm grateful for school teachers. I really am. I've got a renewed respect for what they get through in a day. And I never thought about it before. It's something, I never thought about. So, yeah. And I agree with you. It has softened the edges. I've noticed a great sense of community spirit and caring, and we're not complaining about the things we used to complain about, and the the nitpicking over stupid things is not there. It's just gone. And it's about the bigger picture and helping people who really have nothing. And what can we do? And it's staggering. And I'm very happy, or no, I'm very proud to be a South African citizen, because I look at the circus that's going on in Europe and in America, and goodness, they're just arguing about arguing, and the daftness. And where our government has its faults, they've really done what's needed to happen. You can't fault them. And, you know, we might not enjoy the fact that they haven't allowed us to go out, but I respect the fact very much that they've done what they've done and they've stuck by it. Yeah, there's problems. There's always problems wherever you go. But I think they've really done us all hugely proud. And I haven't really felt the sense of togetherness and belonging since the Soccer World Cup in 2010. That was the last time I felt that we were all united under one purpose. And it makes me immensely proud to be here and happy to be here. And also because we have such incredible weather, and you only have to look out of a window and you feel grateful because you're not in a small apartment in the Far East somewhere. And that is something to be so grateful for. You can look out at a race course, at a mountain, at the ocean. You might not be able to go there, but hell, we can still take it in. So yeah, I mean, the conversations we've had have inspired me, because I know how frenetic your life was and how wrapped up in the small things you were, because we all were, frankly. But you of all people had enough. This was the arc. We went into panic and we got over it, and that speaks a lot about resilience. What do you think?
I am amazed at how quickly we can adjust. I've read about humans adjusting quickly. I've read about it and I've thought I understood it, and I thought it made sense, and I had maybe an academic understanding of what being able to adjust quickly means. But if ever I really got to know what adjusting quickly means, it's been in the last 829 days. I've seen my own capacity to adjust. And it's actually frightening to see how quickly you can adjust, because you can adjust very quickly to something that's very bad, and also within a very short period of time have moved past even noticing that it's bad. And so I think that's also the danger of falling into bad habits or patterns. We kind of get forced into a direction we don't really want to go in, but we accept it, we adjust. So the great gift of lockdown has been that we've been able to do this as a complete civil society, as a complete group. In fact, it's been global. Where do you see the whole, I mean, it's miraculous really that the whole world experiences something all at once.
Yeah. Never in recorded human history have we had this experience. This is, and you spoke also about the group support that you've experienced. You've connected with people that you never otherwise would have. And it seems that the minute you need help, there's always a group or a person or someone who really wants to help you, which is not something we ever experienced before, unless you paid for the service, frankly.
I just think that I, speaking for myself, got into not a rut, not a routine, but a pattern. Say a pattern of behaving where one was expected to be very independent and sort of self-contained, and you weren't in the habit of reaching out to any group or individual and expect a positive reaction. That is completely turned around. I think it's more natural for us as human beings to be connected and have community like we are having now. So much more comfortable. This is so much more comfortable, more fun. But somehow the other way took hold, and you follow a group pattern or activity. You just get caught up in it. You can't really not be part of whatever the group is that you're part of. Or few people can, most of us can't. I was going to talk about doors opening, neighbors. I've become more friendly with my neighbors in the last few weeks than I had in the last few years. People are just kind and considerate and friendly and sweet to each other, tolerant and understanding and supportive in a way that we're all living in the self-same building, in the self-same apartments, but the whole feeling is different. And we just have something in common. Perhaps it's that we have something in common that we didn't have before. I also find that when I go to the shops, which I've only done about 3 times in the month, the way that I connect with people working in the shops, the cashiers and the packers and so on, is now on a different level. It's on a completely different level. And they react back to me in a completely different way. I was at Woolworths getting my fresh supplies there. I actually go myself, although you can get stuff delivered. And I chatted to the young woman at the till. She started telling me about research that's being done right now in Cape Town. I don't know which hospital or university, and that a vaccine is being ways to find a vaccine is being explored now by varsity academics or research people. In fact, they're looking at, I briefly looked at it, something to do with TB treatments that they're pulling out of the archives now and reworking to see if it can be used to help treat COVID-19. And this has been an eye-opener for me. It's been an absolute eye-opener. Also to see how people have reacted with masks, social distancing. Everybody's very conscious, very aware. People whom you, and it's also funny to see the different reactions of people. And you can see which people understand what's going on and who doesn't really know what's going on. But they're trying to listen anyway because everybody's just putting their best foot forward. And it has been quite amazing. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah, I've also noticed that there's a different kind of humility, and it has really pegged us all down onto the same level. Whether you're a cashier or you're a shopper, it doesn't really matter. We're all in the same boat, and we're all vulnerable on the same level. We're all human, and I think it's enabled a lot of us just to recognize the humanity in everybody. So yeah, I think the ability to turn a bad situation and see where it can potentiate the good for the long term is really important right now, because I'd hate for us to go back to where we were before, because it was horrible and it wasn't working for so many people. And to recognize the humanity in other people is key to changing the way we do life. Never at a time in human history was it more needed to have a different kind of respect for each other and the world we live in. So I'm very humbled by this experience. I'm very grateful to have had it. It is difficult and horrible for so many people, and we're going to do what we can to try and ease people's suffering. And if we can keep that in the front of mind, I think we'll be okay. We'll be okay as a population, as a world population. Yeah. But yeah, so on a lighter note, how have you been eating? How have you been exercising? What have you discovered, just to round off on the fun stuff?
Well, I just don't have, I have only 2 or 3 kinds of junk food in the house. So I was very worried about what I would eat and what I wouldn't eat. And I've had the opportunity when I go to the shops to buy anything that I want to. And I walk right past the sweets and the biscuits. I walk right past them and I go to the fresh fruit and veg counters and I pile in the fresh fruit and veg. And I've started having green smoothies virtually every single day. And also the lockdown has given me the time to look at cookery videos and things like that, get all inspired on how to make delicious food that I never had time to do before. So now I cook really delicious meals and they are extremely satisfying. And the very good meals take away the need for snacking and eating junk food and stuff like that. I don't really, I think I'm not really aware, but I might have lost a bit of weight. It seems that way. And I'm starting to do exercise because I have to move. So I wasn't following a exercise discipline before very well, actually at all. And now I'm part of a little group that works out every day. And 40 minutes, we work quite hard for us. Muscles get sore and that, and trying to just keep. And also I've started doing hobbies, which I never used to do before, because I used to put in a 10-hour day or maybe a 12-hour day commuting away from home and being out of the home environment in an office environment, which is very uncomfortable environment, really, because it only allows you to do one activity. Here at home, you can do multiple activities during the day. So I can multitask and do and rest my mind in between. I'm probably working more now than I was before, but I can sit down for a couple of minutes and knit or cook or do something domestic, which just breaks that strain of a long, hard day, softening everything. What I'm really doing now, more than going after new business as I did before, I'm now doing a lot of learning, because, as I said, the doors open to it's just one enormous learning curve for me. I'm just learning all day long. Too much almost is coming in, but I just know that I let it in and I'll go and revise in the coming days and weeks. There's plenty of time to go back and relearn. So it's a big, like a learning fest going on of new skill after new skill after new skill. Interestingly, everything that's happening is exactly what I asked for. If somebody said to me, you can have your wish, what is your wish? This is my wish. It's happening.
Yeah.
This is my wish.
Yeah. It's the reprieve we needed on many levels, even if it comes in the disguise of a monster. It is still a reprieve. And I'm hoping a lot of us can take this learning with us and change the way we do life. But time will tell. So well done for turning it on its head so quickly and just making it work for you. It's so positive.
I also had, I should say, Nikki, that I did have therapy. I had an 8-week therapy, like life coaching, not really therapy, more of a life coaching. I started a little 8-week program with a lovely therapist, and we explored change and adjusting and strategizing and things like that. And we completed our program this last week, and we were chatting about how well it had gone. It had just been so fun. And I said to her, I just don't know what we did, and I don't know how we did it. All I know is that it's worked. So I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just going to receive and accept it gratefully and carry on. I just think that serendipitously, a whole lot of things came together to facilitate being able to get through the last month. However, it's early days. We don't know what lies ahead. Things could get worse before they get better. Yeah. So we just have to be sensible, alert, diligent, disciplined, have fun.
We know we can adapt. We know we can work it through now. Whatever it comes, we can work around.
Yes, that I didn't know. I didn't know that before.
Because once you've had this experience of being able to adapt, you know you can, and we will. And we'll the human ability to adapt is what keeps the species going for thousands of years. You know, if you can persevere and adapt and bend with the wind, you know, if the tree that bends with the wind will be the tree that doesn't break. So if we can continue to dance the dance that is being dished out, we'll be okay. We'll be okay as long as we can help those who need our help as well.
Yes, I see it in a lot of people. I see that flexibility and adaptability. I see it all around me.
It's amazing. It's wonderful.
The people that I interact with, I've hardly come across anything but that. So
that's so promising. It's phenomenal. Yeah. I don't know if we can say the same about anywhere else in the world. As like you said, we don't know what the conditions are and the severity of the situation, but it's good to be here. And yeah, good to be where we are right now.
I had a feeling the other day, I had this, and I shared it with my therapist life coach, whom I temporarily won't be seeing for a little while, although we've made a pact to meet up again in about 4 months or so and just reassess and see how everything is going. And I said to her, I had this amazing epiphany or moment where I suddenly realized about a week or so ago that, and I've heard this said before, but never felt it quite the same way. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be at this moment in time. And everything that is supposed to be happening is happening, no matter how crazy or difficult or weird it seems. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And everything that has happened leading up to this moment, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is exactly what it was supposed to be. And that was just a very spectacular moment. And with that moment also was a further unlocking. I can't explain it any other way. I can just feel things falling into place that weren't in place before. If I can maybe end on that note.
That's beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing your incredible experience. I think it's going to inspire many people to think differently, and yeah, that's what we hope to do, is just help other people to think differently, drop the seeds, drop the breadcrumbs, and yeah, hopefully everyone else or anybody else who needs it will pick up and run with that information. So thank you so much. It's been
thank you.
such a pleasure.